Okay, cool. Well, Amelia, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am thrilled to be joining all of you today to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is retention. So, Chase, let's go on to the agenda slide. I feel like I'm just like, Chase, show them what they've won. Here we are. Here's what you get today. A whole lot of me, a whole lot of Chase. We're going to kick it off here with introductions, some housekeeping items, everything you're used to from every webinar you've attended previously. And then we'll get into the meat of the sandwich by going into the problem with client retention and solutions, how you can help that problem at your organization. And lastly, hoping really for some robust Q&A from all of you. I know marketers are not shy, so be thinking about what burning questions that you want to ask, and we will try our best to answer them. All right, well, a little bit about me. I am Amelia Northrup Simpson, Product Marketing Manager here at CallRail. And I'm a career marketer. I've worked in marketing my whole career. I've worked in situations where the marketing department was me and one where I was one of 40, kind of everywhere in between. I've been in the trenches doing client work at agencies and consultancies, as well as being on the other side of the desk. I've been a client. I always think of myself as a difficult client, but I probably wasn't that bad in terms of what I have seen. But I will also say that I am a learner and I'm a teacher. I occasionally teach marketing and data literacy at the graduate level at the University of Denver. And so a lot of topics near and dear to my heart here today: retention, the data that we can glean about retention, and what is actionable there. So excited to chat with you about all of that. Chase, take it away.
I'm Chase Buckner. I am the Director of Product Marketing at High Level. It is a pleasure to be here with everyone. Before High Level, I spent about 7 years building a full service marketing agency at High Level, getting to work with so many of you, so many marketers, consultants, agency owners as well. And so we are thrilled to be doing this together because we, as we will discuss, have seen a lot of common trends, and both Amelia and I have experienced all of this personally as well. So I think we're going to hopefully shed a lot of light and help a lot of folks reduce that churn. So let's hop into it.
Yeah, so the housekeeping items, it's Zoom. We all know how to use Zoom at varying levels, of course, here in 2023, but the specific flow of this session is to put those cues, those questions in the Q&A. And Chase and I, as we see them, will try to jump in if it's a clarifying question to something that we just said, and we will save the more like situational or philosophical type questions for the end.
Sounds
and again,
good.
we love when you get a good discussion going, so please don't be shy. If you're thinking about something, then chances are there's someone else in the Philippines or Germany or in Miami or Southern California that is having that same question too. And we are all in this together. So let's get the discussion going. And note, if you are having technical issues, just try to put that there in the chat, and we will try to address that as that comes up as well. All right, lastly, the eternal question: will there be a recording? Yes. And we encourage you to share that recording generously with your colleagues, or better yet, your entire LinkedIn network when we send it. I believe that's going out. Is that tomorrow, Chase, when that's going out?
Yeah, we'll definitely have it up and in YouTube by tomorrow. So we'll get everyone access to that link as well.
Awesome.
Oh, all right. So let's see if we can launch this poll for real here. Launch. All right. So you all should see a poll that just popped up, and I want you to be honest, no lying. When we generate leads for our clients, what happens next? So option number one, an email goes to the client with the leads information. Option number two, an email goes out to the client and then automated emails, text messages, and voicemails start going to the lead. Or option number three, an email goes out and you actually nurture the leads for your clients. So let's see.
Oh, we got a tight one.
Oh, are you seeing the results? Because I just see zeros on my end.
Oh, no, I'm seeing the results. So right now we've got a tie
cool.
between, oh, it looks like an email goes out with lead info is the leader by a hair. And the second place choice is email goes out to client, auto emails, SMS, and voicemails go to the lead.
Nice. Okay. And how, what percentage have participated so far?
Let's see, we have 51%, ooh, 52. Keep those coming.
All right. And we'll wait another 30 seconds, let's say. And yeah, it's so weird on my end. It still just says zeros, but I'm going to go ahead and kill the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's see if I can see the answers. I can't, but I'm assuming it finished somewhere around what you said, which is not surprising.
There were no surprise finishes there, Chase.
Okay, great. As we expected, as most of us do when we generate leads, we send them to our clients because that's what we're being paid for, right? To generate leads. For all of you doing number two, kudos to you. It sounds like we do have some more advanced marketers in the house, which is exactly what we hope everyone is equipped and prepared to do by the end of this webinar. Did we have any number threes?
We did. We had about 16% were number threes. And again, that was email goes to client and we nurture the leads for the client.
That's like next level. So
that is
very impressive to hear 16% of you are running your own call or response type centers for your clients. That is really kind of the pinnacle. And so, but as was expected, Amelia, our number one response was we send an email with the lead's information. And so let's talk about that. But before we do, hopefully everybody is aware of who CallRail and HighLevel are. Amelia, give us a quick bit about CallRail.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of you might know a little something about CallRail, but whether you are brand new or you are in the platform every day, at the end of the day, CallRail is helping marketing agencies prove that they are driving high quality leads for clients and giving them clear visibility into how clients can turn more leads into better customers. So we are revealing the sources behind leads from calls, texts, and forms at the ad, keyword, and campaign level so that you can fill those ROI gaps for your clients.
CallRail's been doing this for a while. Do you know when CallRail actually got started?
I believe that this is like a quiz question. Is the CEO on the call? No, it was around 2011, but I believe that we kind of hit like sort of critical public knowledge probably somewhere in 2015. And I will say for our agency folks, a lot of the agencies that we have that probably came on board around like 2018, 2019 is when we started really getting known in the space. Which is a perfect lead into my next slide, which is that we have around 200,000 businesses that use CallRail. More than 6,000 of those are agencies that are counting on CallRail every day to show proof of revenue. And we have a whole bunch of integrations. So us, along with our partners, can help you prove marketing performance and consult with clients on how to improve those conversion rates.
Nice. If you are new to HighLevel, we're an all-in-one sales and marketing platform that gives agencies everything you need to capture, nurture, and close leads into long-term customers, from funnel, form, website builders through pipeline, CRM, the whole gamut. HighLevel's white label. So we have about a little over 22,000 agencies using HighLevel right now. And through them, almost about maybe even more now, 500,000 small businesses use the platform every day, although they don't know it because they're using it through agencies who have white labeled the platform. So let's talk about the problem that we just sort of illustrated, which is that agencies have traditionally low client retention. And this is something that before we kind of hop into why, I just want to point out that this is a problem. When we looked into it, we came up with a stat that was about the traditional services churn rate for agencies was around 62%, which is kind of shocking when you hear that number. It was very interesting when we started talking with CallRail, and they shared with me their report that's going to come out. Is it already out, Amelia, or is it about to come out?
It is already out. Yeah.
Okay. And they did their study with CallRail agencies last year in 2022 and found that same number to be around 64%. So you can see consistently, no matter who you're talking to, this is a big problem. And let's talk about why. So over prospecting, under retaining, looks like the formatting on our slides is having a little issue here, but when you have churn like that, it makes it impossible to forecast for your agency. It's super hard to provide security, right, for your team. One of the worst days of my life, my entire career, was when I had to tell our whole team that in order to not let anyone go, we were all going to take a 50% pay cut because we lost like 2 of our top clients in the same month. And that's really hard. And it's just because the churn creates sort of a roller coaster. You also don't get to make more of an impact. So when you're constantly fighting to get new clients and losing clients and you're on that roller coaster, you often don't get to do really great marketing, right? You don't get to go deeper into your clients' businesses and solve more problems for them because they're gone before you get to really get into that kind of stuff. So client retention is really the name of the game. And we're going to talk about how we can improve and get you under that average, or let's say over that average of about 3.5 months, 64% churn rate. Can anybody relate to this? Throw a Y in the chat if you've experienced this before. You have 1 month where you are like, this is it. I am going to be on the beach with my laptop, living that lifestyle before I know it. And then 30 days later, what the heck happened, right? Things were going so well. And now 3 of those 5 clients are telling us they're out the door already. And you're just kind of scratching your head. I've been there. Amelia,
Yeah.
I'm sure you have as well. So let's
Absolutely,
talk about
yeah. I have definitely been in that uncomfortable spot. I think for a lot of people, it's like an issue that they like suspect that they might have on like a larger basis. It's definitely something we're also hearing a lot at CallRail. And of course, being data-minded people, we're like, well, can we like quantify this uncomfortable feeling that we are having? So we did, like you said, Chase, we asked agencies, about 600 of them, about their concerns, their practices, their goals, and more. And much of that really related to this question around retention, because it is a toughie. And we found specifically that agencies were gaining an average of 69 new clients. And this was in 2022. And they retained an average of 44 of their clients. So with an average of 157 clients total, that 44% retention rate equaled, again, 69 new clients. So on average, in 2022, agencies were breaking even. And this retention rate was on a decline since 2021, when agencies said that they had a 53% retention rate. So retention is hard. It's getting harder. Folks are prospecting, but they're never growing.
There's the source there. You guys can go back to that once you get the recording if you want to dig deeper. So let's talk about the formula for growth. So retention plus new equals growth. It costs up to 4 times as much to earn a new client as it does to retain an existing one. Have you all heard that before? Hopefully that you have. And if we take a moment to kind of stop and think about the power of that, I would bet that most of us as agency owners focus more on getting new clients than we do on retention. And so this is something that we really need to, again, we're going to flesh this out throughout this webinar, but hopefully the gears are starting to turn here in that we need to be making time to really pinpoint what is causing our churn and take steps to improve it. So, Amelia.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a leaky bucket. The more clients you gain, the more you lose, and you never get ahead of that growth equation that Chase just mentioned. You just keep bailing water until you take the action that you need to take to plug the holes. And it seems like it's not getting better. I cited that statistic 2 slides ago, but additionally, the majority of agency marketers that we surveyed think that client retention is going to be more challenging this year than it was last year. So why do clients churn? Like a variety of reasons, right? And in order to plug the holes, you have to find the leaks and what's causing them. Again, it's a variety of things, right? Like one thing that I remember from my agency days, particularly when I was new, but I'm sure it happens all the time, right? Like we can all relate. Poor communication. So not setting expectations, not communicating on their desired cadence, miscommunications that can cause work to be delayed or done incorrectly. It happens all the time. It happens to the best of us.
Sorry, I just killed the slide for a second because it froze. So let me see if I can get it back on track.
Yeah, no worries. I think the next one is lack of trust.
Yeah. Were you seeing the bullets on your end?
I was not seeing the bullets.
Okay. So let's see. Let me see.
No, poor communication never came up, which is kind of ironic when you think about it, Chase.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I go to the
we
next.
have poor communication with our slides and also have a lack of trust right now with our slide deck, but
we definitely do. If we have to, we can do it this way, but let me give this one more try. So if we go, okay, so that's working. All right, great. Let me share my screen again, and we're gonna have to do all the bullets in one go, but that's okay.
Well, instant gratification, So lack of trust, a lot of root causes are possible with lack of trust, right? But at the end of the day, it leads to the situation, which I'm sure we have all experienced. Like you can kind of just feel it rolling off a client when you're like, oh, they don't trust me anymore. They don't believe in our agency anymore. Next, lack of results. So not getting the results the client wanted, or just as important, not being able to prove the ROI that they're getting. Rough handoff is another one. So this is like why we asked that question at the very beginning of this webinar, right? A lot of agencies, let's see, I think it was 43% of you all are generating leads, email the lead info off to the client, done and dusted. But, I think that what Chase was trying to get at there is that like we want to go beyond that into like their own communication with their customers to speak to their process, and that is the way to help those take those leads to completion. And then one other thing that I've seen in my experience is that they outgrow you, quote unquote, and take marketing in-house. Now, I will say that when I was working for a consultancy, we had a lot of boomerang clients that like thought that they outgrew us. And then like a year later, they'd be back and they'd be like, we stopped doing all the things that you said to do, and now we aren't getting the results anymore. And I'd be like, okay. Okay.
I will.
What else do you see that
100%.
turn?
So to add to that, a couple of things have become very clear to me at this point after working with so many agencies and consultants is that in addition to everything Amelia said, a slow start will kill you. And we'll talk a little bit more about sort of bridging that gap. But this one is the biggest one for me. Clients think they want leads, but what they actually need are bookings. And we illustrated that in the poll, right? If you are just generating leads and sending an email and that's it, you're going to have high churn because clients are used to referrals. They are used to people showing up that have been pre-sold by friends, family, and they're ready to buy. And that's way, way different than having to close a lead off of Facebook, right? We all know that, but our clients don't. And that will really lead to a disconnect of conversations like this. Give me a 2 in the chat if you've ever had this conversation before. You hop on that first call with a client at the end of month 1 or month 2, you guys kicked butt, you generated a ton of leads at a great cost, and the client looks at you and goes, "What are you talking about? These leads stink. None of them showed up. None of them bought anything. I haven't heard from any of these people. We are ready to cancel." And that is because they were expecting referral type traffic when what you are delivering are leads off of the internet. And so we learned this lesson the hard way, but if you take it one step further and take a lead and nurture it into a booking for your client, you can change your churn overnight. Clients know what to do with booked appointments. They do not know what to do with leads off the internet. Another big reason that I have found that clients churn that's often surprising to people is that you overperform, right? It's obvious we're going to churn clients if we underperform for them, but overperform. How many people do we have any SEO? Give me an SEO in the chat if you provide SEO services to clients. Have you ever heard this one? Well, we're on page 1 now. So why would we need to continue paying you? I've heard that one multiple times. That was kind of a shocker the first time I heard that one, but it kind of makes sense, right? What about this one? Have you ever heard, "We're flooded right now with new business. We need you guys to turn these ads off," right? We weren't expecting this. We weren't expecting this level of volume. We can't handle this. We need to shut this down, right? You overperformed. Most businesses are looking to grow, whether they know it or not, 25, 35%. They're not ready to double or triple their business overnight. And so all of these things, whether we do a really bad job or a really great job, contribute to churn. So let's see. All right, our slides are working again. So let's talk about solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say too, like these problems are more systemic than just, you can't get to the solution on some of these problems by I'll just do whatever the opposite of the problem is. Like there's a lot to dig into here around incentives, around structure, around how you're communicating with clients. So yeah, I will say, can you click forward one?
There we go.
There we go. Okay. I was going to say, one thing that came through in our data is that agencies pretty clearly know the problem, right? Or at least they know one of their problems. And a lot of agencies attributed unmet goals to the inability to prove ROI. But they also know the solution. And a majority of them think that proving ROI to clients is key to growth and getting out of this retention leaky bucket.
Okay, so this one we're just going to do in the chat. We don't have a fancy poll set up. But when you sign up a new client, and be honest, how long does it take to get your first campaign off the ground, right? Whether it's a Google ad campaign, a Facebook ad campaign, an SEO campaign, is it a week, 1 to 2 weeks, 3+? Okay, I see 1 to 2 weeks.
Too
freaking long.
I like that one.
Jeff, I think, nailed it on the head, right? It's actually not our fault that campaigns take so long to get off the ground. It's the clients. They take forever to get us the assets that we need, right? Okay. So, and again, this is all consistent with every time I ask this question, same answers, 1 to 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, somewhere in that time zone. The problem with that is every day that goes by, your client is wondering if they made a bad decision to cut you that check, right? Every day their staff are looking around going, didn't we just pay somebody like $2,500 to make the phone ring? How come the phone's not ringing? And so we have to understand that we need to kick off a relationship in a strong way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say too,
Take it
Chase,
away.
we were rehearsing this thing. You described that period of sign to launch a first campaign as Death Valley, and that has really stuck with me. I'm stealing it and using it liberally. But like that
Approved.
is the reason for this slide, right? To avoid the Death Valley of that first initial period. We got to start strong at the beginning of the relationship. And this, you know, it can be a formal program that your agency launches, or it can be quite informal. But really, like the root cause of some of these churn issues start with realistic expectations. And like, that sounds pretty simple when I say it out loud, but like really setting expectations of things that you can deliver. And that is not on the account management team solely. That goes back to the selling phase. So if you're not in a position where you are over both account management and sales, I would encourage you to reach across that silo and make sure that you guys are really, really real for real aligned on what you're putting out there in the selling phase versus what you're able to deliver on the account management side. I think that it really blindsides a lot of people. Would you agree with that, Chase?
Yeah, 100%. The more that you can communicate the real expectations of how things are going to unfold, the better chance you're going to have to retain the client.
Yeah. And having that good handoff between account management and client service is pretty critical too. So during that discovery phase, creating at least the outline of a detailed plan that proves that you understand client pain points, incorporating tangible action items, goals, things that are going to be accomplished through various stages of the plan, and being able to deliver that early on. So even if you're in that Death Valley period, it's like, hey, like, here's how we're going to act. We're getting all the technical bells and whistles together on the backside, but here is really how we're going to help you. I would say too, addressing the best way for you and your client to present questions, concerns, and constructive criticism, that is an ongoing conversation. You know, it starts when the account manager is meeting the client for the first time, and it continues. Like there's continuous check-in, not just on like what the concerns are, but like, hey, is email actually the best way for me to deliver this report to you? Or like, hey, I noticed that like this person who's a key decision maker is never on our call. Do they need to be involved? Do we need to move this call in order for them to be involved? Is there more that we need to cover in order for that person to feel like they have a stake in the game? So again, some of this is formal, some of this is informal. Even with the more informal programs that I just talked about, you do have to systematize them in some way. Even if it's just a template, even if it's just like an internal checklist that's like, okay, hey, we need to ask about the best way for us to present our reporting every week. And also, I think that this is really undervalued, but like incentivizing that account management team to do it the way that you need it to be done. If you're not in a situation in an agency where you are the account management team, you do have to incentivize people to do the things that you know need to get done. But on the more formal side, setting the right expectations upfront with an SLA. So an SLA is going to contain a list of services that your firm is going to provide, performance targets, backup strategies, penalties, if those targets are not met, clear deadlines. Some of these documents, I know, especially for the smaller agencies here on this call, SLAs, MSAs, statement of work agreements are not feasible for you in terms of like legal red lines. But if they are, or you're starting to scale up into that size of agency, they can really serve you well when you're getting questions or running up against things that start to be churn risks. Yeah, and then lastly, setting yourself up for success with some quick wins early on. But I think that Chase actually has some good insights on how to get there, how to get to the quick wins quicker. So
yes,
over to
definitely.
you,
And I
Chase.
can't remember if I need to. Okay. I think yes. So let's just jump over to it. Quick wins are, in my opinion, the key to Death Valley and making it out alive. And so whether you're using CallRail, High Level, some other tool, you need to find a way to install tactical quick wins that will generate results week one. Before you show proof of ROI, be sure that your ROI will be optimized. Optimize your clients' channels quickly, right? This one to me is an easy quick win that you can do. Let's take a look at the right-hand side of the screen, right? Has everyone heard of companies like Linktree, Lincoln Bio? These companies blew up in the past year because they realized, hey, it's kind of a problem that our social profiles only give us one link. It usually goes to a company's homepage, which is poorly optimized for mobile. What if we could just make quick mobile optimized landing pages for our social channels? And we can do these in High Level very quickly. The point being, we are turning the social channels into lead generation machines, trackable marketing opportunities. And so let's say we were working with Jan's Cafe here. We throw this link on all her social profiles. Well, now they're capturing leads, right? They're capturing emails. They've got quick buttons to get where people really want to go. And we've got the ability to click to call, right? So now we can track that call in CallRail. We can see the transcriptions, right? So day two, our clients could be seeing what's going on their phones for the first time. You'll be shocked at how many business owners don't actually know what's being said on their phone calls. And so being able to just show them at the end of week one, hey, guess what? I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but you're missing 23% of your inbound phone calls during business hours. Were you aware of that, Jan, Dr. Bob, whoever your client is, right? By the way, we actually transcribe those calls for you. You might want to take a look at some of the things that are being said here. We see a lot of opportunity to optimize these conversations. Imagine if you could do that just a few days into the relationship, how dramatically that would improve your odds of a long-term relationship with that client. High Level's got a lot of little quick automated wins that you can install. Like a great one is activating Google Business Chat. Most businesses don't even know it exists. And when you turn it on, all of a sudden people can message them from Google Maps, mobile search results. These are types of things that you could make, an SOP for, where day one, day two, you're turning this stuff on and they are actually seeing results happening in that first week during Death Valley. So you need to figure out how you're going to get quick wins for your client. And you also need to figure out how you're going to optimize your agency's tech stack to deliver on that.
Yeah, and I'll say that Google Chat one is a great example, and even just getting visibility into their data as you're collecting benchmarks, or as you said, like, hey, like what's the missed call rate? Like being able to surface metrics that they've never seen before that can point to like larger actionable issues in their business is so important. But yeah, I will say, going back to optimize, you can't optimize their performance without optimizing your agency's tech stack. And I will say, I am a really big fan of tools that are suited and built for purpose. It's one of the reasons that I love chatting with Chase and partnering with High Level, is that it is a tool that is designed for agencies to be successful in the CRM and marketing automation category. And same thing with CallRail, is that we are really built to help agencies get results for clients. Because one thing that I've learned, I used to work for a niche CRM company as well in another industry. And like those actionable details that are built for purpose really do matter and really do get results.
Let me advance this. Here we go. So we talked about installing quick wins. This next one, automate the lead nurture, I feel like we mentioned, but I do want to double down on that. If you are generating leads and generating form fills, you can't just send that email. Like, I forget the percentage of the poll indicates that we're doing right now. You have to do more than that, right? We have to be automating emails back. In today's day and age, we can automate text messages back. We can automate ringless voicemail. How many of you have seen that, where actually your phone won't actually ring? You just get the notification that you have a voicemail. And we can even do really cool things called call connects, where we connect our clients with leads on the phone. And so all of this, when you do it, will guarantee that the leads are being interacted with within the first 5 minutes. And statistically, it's shocking, right? If you can't engage a lead in the first 5 minutes, the odds of ever closing it decrease by like 80-something%. It's basically a missed opportunity. And if we rely on our clients to do that by just sending them an email, it will never happen. I promise you, ever. They just can't. They're not equipped. They're not trained to do it. They don't have the time to do it. And so you need to figure out, how are you going to automate responses back to the leads that you're generating on behalf of your client to take it out of their hands. And then with High Level, because it's white label, you can sell the system that's doing that as your own software. And that really changes churn quite a bit, because it enables you to say, oh, you want to shut off that SEO package or that ad package because you're getting flooded. We totally understand. But as Amelia pointed out, oftentimes they boomerang back, right? So we need to be able to continue to collect revenue from them while they're not running ads or SEO or those higher ticketed services, and charging for things that deliver quick automated wins like CallRail or the things that High Level can do will carry you through and remove the stress of being a boomerang client. Sure, yeah, turn off the Facebook ads, no problem. Let us know when you're ready to ramp back up again, because you're collecting $300, $400, $500 a month for this system that's enabling them to see what's going on their phone calls, send text messages back when they miss a call, chat through Google, all these types of things. So these are critical, and these absolutely will change the game when it comes to reducing churn if you get them set up in week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to that point about visibility, just like playing that out here for a minute, proving the ROI of your agency does require visibility into transactions. And like, we kind of know this as marketers at this point, right? Like, yes, like I need visibility into my digital customer journey. That's how a lot of people think about it. At CallRail, we think about it in a little bit of a different way. We think that it requires visibility into not just the online or digital journey, but also the offline journey, offline transactions, because that visibility and the ability to respond to those offline transactions is key. So a lot of people, again, are thinking, okay, digital, Google is the be all end all marketing attribution system. And there's a lot of problems with that. Like, that's a problematic worldview to me. Like, first of all, Google is tracking a specific type of conversion, online purchases, and the trail just kind of goes cold if there's an offline interaction like a phone call involved. And then coming back to your agency, when you're looking at your own ROI, numbers for your client, your ROI numbers as an agency are off. The CPA for digital purchases only, and not those bought over the phone, it makes you look like you're not as effective as you actually are. You're underselling your value. And particularly for those clients that get a lot of phone calls, like home services or healthcare, or the ones that kind of have like the more complex or longer sales cycle that involve getting a quote. Every buyer journey, of course, is going to be different, but trends that show not just leads collected, but closed won opportunities means that your decisions can be smarter. So if you go to the next slide, Chase. Yeah, we built CallRail so that every action is unified, and you can use our data to improve targeting, increase close rates, and again, develop that more complete and accurate ROI picture.
On the high level side, we are here with the same mission, right? And so one of the core areas of high level is what we call funnels. And funnels enable us to generate funnel reports like the one that we see on the right, which is incredible for tracking success, right? So hopefully you guys can't hear my toddler having a meltdown outside my office. But I promise you that most clients have never seen a visualization of their marketing funnel. And so if you can show them, look, oh, we generated X amount of leads, this percentage of them took the next step and filled out the survey or whatever, and then this percentage of them booked a call, and then you guys marked this many as one, you can quickly see where they need to focus attention, right? Whoa, what happened between here and here? We need to go optimize this area of the marketing funnel that you guys are, paying us to run. And that's when you can quickly flesh things out that have massive impact, right? It's like, well, wait, we're getting a lot of bookings, but you guys aren't getting a lot of sales. What's being said on these calls, right? And now we can go back and look at the transcripts from CallRail, right? And say, hey, oh my gosh, these people aren't trained at all, Dr. Bob. And so you can help your clients pinpoint where the leaks are in the bucket. And like I said, most clients have never seen it visualized like that before. So using
it's an
funnels,
interesting and like kind of bizarre thing, but it kind of makes sense when you say that, Chase. I think a lot of everyone on this call is a marketing expert, and like funnels are just kind of like our world and where we live. But we all know that sometimes we put things in front of clients and it is just like a watershed moment in their understanding of marketing. Mm-hmm. And, I think about like when I talk to marketing to other people, I'm like, oh, wait, I actually do know things about marketing. But to us, it's kind of common sense, and it makes absolute sense. I'll say on the CallRail side too, we have a lot of instances where we do find places in the funnel where people are dropping off, and it's for bizarre reasons. Like you said, like, hey, these people aren't trained, or like in one case, we were able to help them like identify that their some of the things in their phone tree system were not ideal and were sending people weird places, and we were able to stream that so that there was a better customer experience, and they were able to convert those leads a lot more efficiently because it was a better experience and they weren't being sent weird places. So it's so interesting to me to like dig in to some of these places where you're losing them in the funnel.
100%. And oftentimes you'll see there's a big problem at the top. And we mentioned this before, but missed calls it's crazy. Statistically, it's over half. And if you actually dig in, I remember, scratching my head going, why aren't we having success with this client? This is crazy. We're driving a ton of click-to-calls from Google. What's going on here? And, Dr. Bob, who's responsible for, answering these calls that we're generating? Oh, so-and-so at the front desk. She was pretty young. And so I hopped on a call with her and said, talk to me about your day. What does a typical day look like? And it was, oh, well, I'm at the front desk, so I'm greeting everybody that walks in. I have to get them, greeted, sat, get them some water, kick off whatever they do. I'm answering calls, but a lot of them are spam calls these days, right? And I'm like, yep, that's a major problem. You're answering a spam call. You're missing a real lead that's trying to call in, right? I'm picking up breakfast and lunch, and I have to, take out the trash. And then Dr. Bob asked me to walk his dog 3 times a day. And it's just like, oh my gosh, no wonder there's so many calls going unanswered. And so, we can trigger off things like that, right? CallRail gives you the ability to trigger off of that. You can use CallRail and HighLevel in conjunction through things like Zapier, where we could say, hey, if a call goes unanswered, let's send a text message back and say, hey, sorry, we missed your call. How can we help? These types of things can drastically change the success of your marketing campaigns for your clients. But again, if you can visualize it for them, it'll most likely be the first time they've ever seen it presented like that.
I love that point around autoresponders too. I think they're very underutilized, and it's like, you can, in order to address missed calls with CallRail, you can also like send an email notification to like let them know that they missed a call, just to, reduce the likelihood that they're just going to ignore what's on their phone. But you can also be a lot more proactive and like put that autoresponder on to be like, hey, how can I help you? I see that I missed your call, and pick up the relationship from there. All right. So once you have increased the ROI to report on, how do you actually communicate it? I always like to start this kind of conversation with just like, there's a moment once the campaign has kicked off, usually, and it's usually like 2 days to a week in, and the client is like, this is working, right? And that question mark is a problem. Like, you want to know upfront what good looks like, right? Like, you want to have established a benchmark and a goal and reference that often and be able to show tracking towards goal. Because if there's a right at the end of that sentence, that means the seeds of doubt are already there.
Been there.
Yes, I think we all have, just this question of what does good look like. I mentioned before, I think I missed this point on the slide here, but stay in an evolutionary mindset about how your clients best absorb information. So I mentioned before, like regular meetings, emailed reports that you're reviewing in the monthly meeting, like, how are they best absorbing the information about how their campaigns are doing and what you're doing actively to service their account? Like, is it reviewing in a monthly meeting? Is it like bulleted out results? This is something that I like to pilot with like one client. So if you have like top 3 MRRs or top 3 churn risks that you have at the top of your brain, it's like, how can I find what works with them and then replicate it across my client base?
Yep, we talked about that one already pretty extensively.
Yep, exactly. And then I'd say too, like utilizing lead scoring can really be effective as well. So scoring leads, we have some conversation intelligence features that are powered by AI that can help you score leads with minimal human input. So that allows you to shift your focus from scoring leads. If you are like, have heard Chase's message loud and clear that like sending an email with lead info is not enough and you want to score those leads, you don't have to manually score those leads. You can focus more on boosting conversions and ROI instead of manually scoring those leads.
Are you able to see the rest of the bullets on your end?
Oh, yep, I can.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that last point is about, let's see, leads. So lead generators that have a form only, Chase, I think that this was something that you said on our rehearsal, is like, give them options. Like, they don't have to fill out a form. I think that there's sometimes a temptation to try to drive everything to a form, but with a solution like CallRail, calls will actually get you more data. Like, it's a more data rich interaction because you're able to like do keyword spotting and measure call duration and all of these things. So adding a phone number to that page is really key. And then there is incontrovertible proof that you have driven that lead.
Yeah, 100%. In my mind, my lead pages are going to have forms, a trackable phone number, and a widget where they could send a text. And to me, now you're just opening the chances of generating the lead, because a lot of us, are not going to spend the time to fill out a form anymore. It's just the way it is. So let's talk about how you can expand. If you follow the advice that we're talking about today, and you go and start setting these things up, it actually opens the door for expansion to make more revenue for our agencies. We're going to build the trust, and at the same time, we're going to increase retention, but we can also increase profit. And this is something that I think a lot of agencies miss out on, which is how much you can charge just for things like audits. And so, we at the agency that I used to run actually used CallRail, and we would have a VA go and do an audit once a week for each of our clients and just provide a brief synopsis of any trends or anything that they were seeing in the phone call conversations. And we charged additional for that because, sure, the client can look themselves, but it's much better to have somebody synthesize it and just point out, hey, the majority of the calls went really well this week, but there were actually 3. They all said the same thing that's not incorrect based on what you told us, right? So it was actually the same person that said it 3 times. So you should probably sit down with them and make sure that they understand, what the deal is there. You can take it further than that. We actually built a coaching program where we partnered with, we used to work with a lot of med spas. So we partnered with one of the main coaches in the space, and we offered that in conjunction with the data that we had as a coaching package. And, it was much higher ticket, but we had lots of clients take it, and, their staff would go through this training program so that they would perform better on the phones. And so these are services that are really easy to offer once you have the ability to see what's going on. When you have the insights, you can package it up and sell it at high ticket offerings. Automated features are things that we talked about before, some stuff that high level can deliver for you. Missed call text backs, Google Chats, these types of things that sort of run themselves. And again, if you sell that as a software offering, it's lower ticket. It often becomes a utility bill that clients are just happy to pay every month because it's delivering value every month, but it's not costing you more employee bandwidth. And so that can be an incredible way to open up a new revenue stream for your agency. This last one is something I love, and Amelia and I were talking about this. When a building gets put up, a general contractor gets hired, right? And they're the ones that have established the trust with the client. And then they bring in plumbers and electricians and folks to do specific things. And so for me, the digital version of that is bringing in an SEO expert if the client's asking you for SEO, bringing in a Google Ads expert if they're asking for Google Ads services. But the point is that I've established the trust, right? I have gave them and set them up on their CRM. I'm the one that's tracking all their calls, right? I've replaced the main number in their Google business profile with a CallRail number. And so I'm the one that really kind of they're leaning on. But I can bring in other players, and if it doesn't work out, no problem. I'll let them know that you're canceling with them and bring in another one for you to work with. And so the digital general contractor model can be very, very powerful. But you first have to establish the trust, and the things that we've been talking about today will do that for you. I promise you, if you go audit a week's worth of phone calls and you go back to a business with some insights that you picked out, they've never heard that before, and they will instantly trust you and want more of that type of service and insight from you. And that opens the door to become a digital general contractor. Okay, so we are, wow, we're right. Yeah, we're about to hit the hour. That went faster than I expected. So let's get into some of these wrap-up slides and try to save some time for Q&A.
Yeah.
Oh, Amelia, are you there? Did you blip out?
Nope, I'm still here. Yep. So I think that if you are interested in connecting with us, just throw a C in the chat and we will get back with you. And then Chase, do you want people to throw, oops.
Looks like I missed one of my assignments there.
What do you want them to throw in the chat if they want to follow up with you all?
Yeah, you could just throw an H in there and we'll follow up as well. But we're also going to shoot you guys, obviously, a follow-up email with the recording of this. I saw a couple of people asking. Yep, we'll shoot the recording for sure. And you can get back to us in that way as well. Sounds like we've got some people singing CallRail praises in the chat. I saw a couple of people asking about a CallRail high-level integration. You never know what the future will hold, but I will say you can integrate the two right now with Zapier or some other platforms like that, like Make.com and things like that. So both CallRail and high-level have, I always get confused with what you're supposed to call it. Zaps, I guess, in the
They are
Zapier.
Zaps. They are Zaps.
And so you can connect both platforms through a service like that. So I know that we are hitting the hour, but I'm good for another 5 minutes if you are, Amelia, if we want to open it up to some Q&A.
I see a couple that I can just address real quickly. So there is in the Q&A, someone asked about CallRail and first touch calls. I have tags that are I have calls that are tagged from first touch with an ad instead of what they called with from the most recently. Is there a way to not have first touch? There is actually a variety of methods that you can apply in terms of attribution within the CallRail platform. So first touch is one. I believe it is the default, so it makes sense that you would be seeing that. But we also have last touch, W-shaped, and a couple others. So I would just encourage you all to, I wish I had your name, anonymous attendee, follow up with your account manager and they should be able to show you where to toggle that setting. I also have one that came through the chat that's, I think I want to rephrase it because this was from Michael and he asked, can AI automations use reflections of a client's financial statements as a means to narrow down client marketing needs in development of marketing campaigns during nurturing of those specific marketing niches? I think maybe what you're asking there is like, can you use conversion data, like specifically revenue data, to show you like which ads are performing best and then like feed that back into your automated bidding strategy? I'm not sure if that's exactly what's being asked, but if that is the question, then yes, you can.
Well, since the elephant in all of the rooms has entered this room, Amelia, how is CallRail thinking about AI?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we are seeing a lot of AI chat out there on, I don't know about you, but I'm on LinkedIn like all the time. And it's like, you know, chat GPT. I'm like, okay, I get it. But like, honestly, you know, we have had an AI powered conversation intelligence solution for years. And I think that calls are actually like pretty undervalued when it comes to like what can be done with calls with AI. So like, it just kind of feels to me like we've had this like under the radar solution that's like, yeah, like we use AI to analyze your calls, and like you can spot keywords from it, and that can feed into your campaigns and your bidding strategies. But I feel like that is something that is really ripe to explode. Like those folks that are wanting to dip their toe into AI but think it's too expensive. It's not. Our solution for conversation intelligence starts at $50 a month. And it's giving you data that honestly, I don't think that a lot of their competitors will have. Like if you're a call-based business and you're looking into this, like using conversation-based intelligence to inform your campaigns, chances are your competitors probably aren't looking into it. So you can be first, which is amazing. And I would say there's just like a richness of data in calls as an interaction that we are not seeing. You know, I think of a lot of digital campaigns, while they can drive traffic at scale fairly cheaply, you also don't get the richness of data to feed back into the system and get that closed loop attribution. So that's, I could honestly go on about that for a whole nother webinar, but I will not.
Yeah, that's exciting. We're actually very close to it going live actually in high level, where essentially anywhere there's a text field will be a little robot, and you can click it and it'll open up like a ChatGPT modal, and you could say, give me 10 email subject headings for an email about what cool sculpting, and then okay, I want that one, boom. And so it's pretty exciting. I've been playing with it more and more, and honestly, it's very helpful, especially when you are at the point of like brain fog, 4 p.m. and you're like, oh shoot, I still need to, write 3 nurture emails or whatever. It can be very helpful.
Yeah, well, maybe that is a topic for our next webinar together, the Chase and Amelia show.
There we go.
We were supposed to do shameless plugs, and we did not.
Yes, we have to find time for the shameless plugs. So before everyone jumps, you can find us in these places. I mentioned, we talked about quick wins, and we actually have a series on our YouTube channel of probably like 8 or 9, I think, specific quick wins that you could install week 1 for a client. So you can check that out. We have a mastermind for folks that are looking to open up this sort of white labeled SaaS arm of your agency coming up in Dallas in June. And then we have our big event in October again this year in Dallas, which was a real blast last year. So if you guys are interested, you can just check out those URLs there. And Amelia, what's happening over at CallRail?
Yeah, we have that 2023 Outlook for Digital Agencies report let's see, the link was shared in the chat earlier. I'll pop it back in here in a minute. But we also have a webinar coming up on March 16th with ActiveCampaign and AirCall, talking about integrated phone systems. So hope to see you all there. And thanks everyone who stayed for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish we had more time for Q&A, but I do think we have to wrap it up. Thank you so much for everyone who attended. Hopefully we'll get to do another one of these in the near future. Does everybody have the links that they needed? What is the link to the 2023 Outlook?
I got it.
Okay, cool.
I just popped it in.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thanks again for joining. We'll shoot you an email tomorrow with the recording and a recap. But until then, have a great one, everyone.